What's up, people? I'm Shaggy the Opinionated Hippie, and this is my top 10 King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard songs in October of 2024. Really impossible list to put together, pretty much. Done all the albums, all of them, elsewhere on this channel, diving into the live stuff recently. Finally thought I'd drop my top 10 song list. A number of these are going to change in years just because I go through phases of what I'm into King Gizzard wise. I also try to represent as many different albums as possible, just cause there were so many good ones. I thought, let's not repeat. Let's try to spread it out. So there's 9 albums. 1 album repeats. The 2 songs on that album will never not be on this list, and they will probably never not be where they are on this list ever. They're 1 and 2. The songs 1 and 2 are from the same album. They're probably always going to be there. Give it away that. Guess now what they are. You probably can. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to go through these 10. I'll put the list on the screen when I'm done. And then that's it. You tell me yours. A lot of really good songs. Had to leave a lot of good stuff out here. I'm not telling you what number 11 is. You're never going to know. Number 10. Oh, and there's only 2 songs that are short. The rest of them are past 8 minutes. One of the short ones is like 6 minutes. So, number 10, Mr. Beat. Probably the first 42 seconds of music on this are probably like my favorite 42 seconds of music ever. It's before the vocals. You have just so many different like competing sort of ideas and rhythms just laying the groundwork for what is by far the most whimsical, lighthearted, easily digestible, almost like let's just take a break from the intensity of the rest of the album. It's been super intense so far. Evil is literally going to follow us after this. Why don't we just take a break with this really cool song, Mr. Beat? It's on Non-Gone Infinity we're talking about. The intensity of Non-Gone Infinity sees a little bit of psych pop sunlight with some great lyrics. It's in 7, and we get, once I missed a beat, only missed a beat. And we literally miss a beat. There's only 7. We're not getting 4/4. It gets weird and starts to fall apart towards the end because it's going back into the evilness of the rest of this album. But it works incredibly well on the album, and then you pull it out and drop it in a live show. It still works well. Absolutely love that song. Number 10, Mr. Beat. Number 9 is the title track to the band and to the 2 albums that were KGLW. We got KGLW. You get the theme, and then you get Doom. And then the Doom gets weird in the middle. And then you got more Doom. And you got tension that kind of builds throughout the whole thing. But like a good Doom song, it never gets released. It just like builds and builds and frustrates you that it doesn't really go anywhere. But that's the purpose. King Gizzard's Psych Doom at close to its best. This is just such a fantastic song. Never really erupts. It's the closing song of that doubly separately released double album awesomeness. Yeah, I just love some Doom King Gizzard. I think it's a great way to end these 2 albums. Drop it in with the intro, and to have them like get heavy while going KGLW or whatever they do, however they phrase that, makes it even more ridiculous in its awesomeness. Just an absolutely fantastic song. Number 8, that's a closing track. Number 8 is the closing track for, I'm not going to say the whole name, for Petrodonic. How do you say that? I'm not even sure this. How do you say that? Petrodonic, whatever that long name is. It was either this or Dragon. Dragon's a lot more of a sort of really relentless beast, and this is what follows it. It's the closing song on Petrodonic. It starts off with some of just the tightest, cleanest thrash that in King Gizzard's version of thrash. You almost get like about a 3.5, 4 minute song that's just a pretty straightforward, tightly wound in, not that messy of a thrash song. And then you go into this drum jam that is just fantastic. That drum jam kind of goes for a while. I think you return to some vocals, and then you get this ending jam in which all the actual instruments that are like real get faded out, and before you know it, we're in this completely electronic breakdown driven by like percussion and drums and synth sounds, and like it's just such a clean transition that and it's still so intense and dirty and gritty and just that you don't realize it's happening, but it is just a fascinating way to end one of their more fascinating albums. Just absolutely great. And it just, that synth drum jam that closes out is just, it's almost like two separate songs, and it really could be two separate songs, but they put it all together in one, and thus Flamethrower becomes number 8 on this list. Fantastic way to end that album. Number 7, another song, album-ending song, Her and I, parentheses, Slow Jam 2. This is on In Your Mind, I'm in Your Mind, Mind Fuzz, all that. I wanted to put the 4-song opener on this. I'm in your mind, I'm not in your mind, Cellophane, I'm in your mind, Fuzz. But I couldn't break it apart. I couldn't pick just one. I wanted to cheat and maybe put all those 4 together since they're kind of one song. But I went with this. You get like a twisted psych pop version to begin with. You get one of the most awesome guitar melodies they've ever played. Just really like kind of loose and jammy, and you just want to like sway back and forth with it. But it's like, it's comfortable, it's jazzy, it's really psychedelic. It's has that early King Gizzard like psych sound, but at the same time they're stretching their wings and starting to explore that little jam band territory that they're going to dive into pretty hardcore on the rest of this list, or at least on a couple songs. But a fantastic way to close what is, I think, one of their best albums. Her and I, Slow Jam 2 is number 7. Number 6, second track off Infest in the Rat's Nest. I'm really bad at titles today. Infest the Rat's Nest. Mars for the Rich. That opening riff, dun 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 dun. That guitar riff, one of the greatest things ever. When it drops on the album is the second song. Anytime they drop it live, when they drop it halfway through the song, this bass heavy riff. I'm just a poor boy. Just friggin' amazing song. But that riff, just, it has to be on this list because of that opening riff. It is so much propulsion and energy, and you just like, you want to get up and like thrash with them. Mars for the Rich, baby. Plus, I love the lyrics, love the bass heavy drive of this, love the bass presence in this, love everything about this song. Just that heavy groove, man. But it's that opening riff that kills it for me. Mars for the Rich, just what a banger, man. Number 5, an opening track off Polygon of Wonderland. We got Crumbling Castle. This 10.5 minute just block of psych awesomeness. And it's almost like you get like, it's almost like you're on the Crumbling Castle motif is good. It almost seems like you're running from like castle to castle for safety. And each time they have vocals, that's the safety of the castle. And then you got to like run like an extra mile or 2 miles to this next keep or this next guardhouse or whatever. And that's when like the instrumental parts come in and the cool guitar lines and these cool like middle sections. That opening riff is amazing. But I like albums that open up with like 10-minute masterpieces. There was something that almost made this list that was like an 19-minute masterpiece, but I ultimately made room for Mr. Beat. But yeah, Crumbling Castle, it's just so much is going on production-wise that adds to the sort of the psychedelic nature of this song that I really like it. That opening riff is fantastic. And the way it just all unfolds with all the kind of different sections that go on throughout the course of the song. Yeah, and it sets up the rest of the album just so incredibly well. Number 5, Crumbling Castle. Number 3 and 4 both represent their recent sort of leaning towards psychedelic jazz, jazzy psychedelia. Number 4, we got one of 2 songs on Laminated Denim. The other one's not on here. We get Hypertension, the second of the 2 songs. This thing is just, it's a straight up jam band mode for 15 minutes. It's kind of jazzy, loose, it's free. The intro kind of reminds me of like a guitar riff from like In Rainbows, the Radiohead album. It sounds like that riff could maybe be on there, or maybe it could be a deep cut off Hail to the Thief or something like that. But then we just go on to these great guitar lines and just all these 15 minutes of them just pretty chill and relax exploring. Doesn't ever get too crazy, doesn't ever get too intense, but the playing is sweet, the playing works, it's got a jazzy vibe, it's got a Sunday afternoon vibe, it's got a let's just like let's just have a good time vibe. And I like 15-minute songs when I'm engaged. This could have gone on for like another 30 minutes and I would have been completely happy. Hypertension's a win for me. This entire album's a win for me. But for me, I like this song better, a little bit better than the first. Number 3 is Magma off Ice, Death, Planet, Lungs, Mushrooms, and Lava. It was either going to be Bliss or the following song, Lava. I ultimately went with this because another jazzy, very jazzy vibe. You start off with this really kind of twee, psych, jazz little pop number, and then we go off into the jamming. There's a almost immediately, like 2 or 3 minutes in, you get this really tight, I think this is the song, or am I mistaken with this Hypertension? No, I think it's Magma. When you get that really nice, tight, almost like ZZ Top rhythm riff that kind of pops in for a while, and you just feel like you might be in like a late 70s ZZ Top jam, but then they go off and start soloing. That might be me mistaking it with Hypertension. These both kind of occupy a very similar loose, free, jazzy era, with them really just going out there and exploring. Yeah, I think Hypertension is the one that has a ZZ Top lift. And then it also has a lot of really good, like Allman Brothers type lines in Hypertension, where Magma is just kind of free flowing guitar, really loose, really tasty. The interplay between the guitarists is absolutely fantastic. Probably some of my all-time favorite just guitar lines that KGLW has ever put down on record are from Magma. This is one of those songs that I think came out of like a longer jam session, and then they kind of cobbled together the highlights. But these two songs, 3 and 4, Magma and Hypertension, just a whole side of King Gizzard where they're kind of dipping their toes a lot more in the jam band territory, very jazzy jam band stuff, very, we're not getting too crazy out there with like the tempo changes as far as like Fish does, and in like, where we're changing direction in a song. Like we're not getting like Stash type stuff or really crazy stuff like that, but it is just, it's comfortable, it's loose, it's free, and there's always just enough psych energy to keep it like always interesting. And then the last two, my two favorite, both come off the same album. They are both off Float Along. Fill Your Lungs, that's number 2, closes the album. I think that opening guitar line, one of the greatest psychedelic guitar riffs ever, sets up this song. It's dreamy, it's floaty, it's psyche, it's hazy, it's trippy. And then there's this lower guitar line that comes in that almost kind of reminds me of like a Morning Dew type riff, just a little bit more focused, a little more heavier energy, and it contrasts with the more like no energy, and that balance just creates such psych heaviness. And then the song just floats along for like 6 minutes, and you're on this wave of just hazy psych richness that just can't be beat. It is so fantastic. Just magical. Absolutely magical way to close that album. And then number 1, along with number 2, this will never not be number 1 and 2 for me. I can't see anything beating these two songs. Number 1 is Head On, Pill. Opens that album. It was the very first thing I ever saw live. Austin Psych Fest 2012. They were the first band to play the entire weekend. Like, that's how much cash they had. None. Putting you on at 11:45 on a Friday. I think they had opened the park. They had problems opening the parking lot, or something happened. Like, we just got in. They're like 2 minutes before they went on. Walk in, and I'm like torn. There's another band that was going to play at 12. I'm like, maybe I should check out this band. They walk on stage, and they're like, we're from Australia. And right then I'm like, okay, I'm checking this out. And they open up with a devastating 15-minute Head On Pill. That was just like, and when they start going, I took the wrong one, when they start talking about taking the wrong one and all that stuff, I'm like, yeah, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard. And that opening riff and Head On, that is an instant psychedelic classic masterpiece. Just, it's up there with the psych masterpieces of all time. Head On and Pill, Float Along, I think are just two absolutely perfect songs. That's what the list looks like in typewritten form. That's October 2024. I'm into the jazzy stuff now. I still like the thrash stuff. I like the really, really heavy psych stuff the best. Every once in a while, it's just, this band's is amazing. Amazing. I could easily make 2 more top 10 lists and put what I can convince myself that those 2 other top 10 lists are my favorite top 10 lists. But I'm going with this right now. This is my jams in 2024. Yeah. All right. Let me know what songs are your favorite, what I missed out, all that kind of stuff. You know how comments work. Like, what are you feeling? What are your emotions? What are your reactions? Drop them down below. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do those things. And go listen to some King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, people. They are friggin' amazing. Peace. Talk to you later.